everyone, this is Professor Benjamin, and you have made it through week 1 of this course. Congratulations. So you still have one more thing due for me by Sunday, 11:59, and if you're here under session 1, you'll see that you have a quiz due by Sunday, 11:59. Remember, the quizzes are always related to the chapter reading, so the quiz will relate to terminology and concepts that are covered in the introduction chapter of your textbook. If you do not have your textbook, then you're going to need to use the PowerPoint to help you. I can't say that it's, the PowerPoint is more kind of bullet items, less content, but you still could succeed on the quiz by using the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so I'm hoping that you're settling in. I know there was a little controversy and a little bit of a mistake on my part with the introductory post, the initial post being due on Tuesday, response post Thursday, and in one area it did say that both were due on Thursday. So I do want to reiterate, though, that would be the only week that that issue would arise. From here forward, every initial post is always due by Tuesday. The response post to a fellow classmate is always by Thursday. Okay, so once we're done the introduction session, so once you've taken your quiz on Sunday, I will release the answers to you the next day. For there's a couple day period that I let you see the answers to the questions in case you have any questions as to why the answer was what it was. So once we're done a chapter, we move on to the next chapter. So for some of you, you probably have already looked ahead, like what's going to happen next week in this class. So if you look here, you'll see what's due next week, which is we're going to cover population next week. And there is a lot of information under population. And the reason there's a lot of information under population is, number one, it relates to potentially a question that you could answer for your research project, which is right here. All of your information that you need for your course project is here, and I will be updating you on that soon about a proposal, etc. for the course project. But if you look here under session 2 population, you will see everything that we're going to cover next week. Here's the forum post, here's the quiz, and you have a population assignment due by next Sunday, 11:59. And if you're confused on what is due by next Sunday, 11:59, there is a video right here that says walkthrough of the population assignment. So I would suggest that you watch that video, and it'll help walk you through what my expectations are for your first assignment of the semester. Remember, this is a writing intensive course, so throughout the semester you're going to have multiple writing assignments as well as that big final project due. You'll also have quizzes and those initial forums and response posts. So there's a lot due, but you do not have a midterm and a final. So all of this information relates, is all relative to your, what goes towards your final average in this class. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Most of you did a fantastic job on your initial posts. And I'm just going to click here real quick just to look at the questions so that we can walk through. So here we go. Can maps distort the world? Of course they can. If you saw the video under the introduction session, where I know it's a funny little clip from the West Wing, but I think it actually encapsulates the issues that we have with producing maps. So I am a GIS major. I do have a certificate in GIS, and it is something that I am well versed in using. And GIS creates maps. People come to us with all sorts of data and ask us to create maps. Can we distort? Yes. Of course, I try to be as morally righteous as possible, but yes, depending upon who's funding specific projects, they want you to show how specific data makes them look good or bad. And you're going to see this coming up in these presidential elections. So you're going to see the Democratic Party come out with data that they want to show what they want to show, right? And you're going to see the Republican Party do the same. So you're also going to have to see, look at Russia's involvement in the election. They could come out with maps that they want to show to a particular candidate or not. So that is really important for you to look at. And a lot of you did a great job to answer that. Explain 2 concepts as to why every place is unique, and a lot of you did a great job with this. You gave examples on why places are unique, the way that we reference places. Do we use the mathematical location, which is the longitude, latitude, or do we use a name, or what is the cultural characteristic that indicates a place? has human geography influenced the physical environment, or rather has the physical environment influenced human geography? And so this is that idea of possibilism or environmental determinism. And so I want you to look at what those two terms are under the PowerPoint so you understand those concepts. And has technology eroded distance decay? Of course, sure, it definitely has. Distance is really not much of an option anymore. It's not an issue. People still travel, but you can have a job on the East Coast or the West Coast and you're able to travel back and forth. You're able to FaceTime people. You're able to connect through the internet. I brought this up in my live class the other day, is when I was in college or looking for colleges, we were given a book. It looked like a phone book. And in there were dollar signs on how much money the colleges were. There was no virtual tour. There was no looking at what the campus looked like. There was no looking at what the dorms room looked like. There was none of that. So actually not very many people traveled. I mean, there were some, of course, these students who went from East Coast to West Coast, but there weren't very many students who traveled outside the area, and the reason for that was they just didn't know. They didn't know what existed. There wasn't all these small colleges that you could look on their campus and say, oh wow, that's a really cool small college, and I could look at what options they have to offer. So there was, a lot of what ifs. But now with technology, oh my goodness, you can now run trails. All of the national park trails are being mapped through drone usage, and you're able to walk along the hiking trail without leaving your home. So there's just all sorts of wonderful advantages. Of course, there's disadvantages too, and globalization is one of those. So that idea of globalization and whether it's good or bad will definitely come up this semester, and we'll keep pushing back and forth for those concepts. So great job on your first posts. I hope that gave you a little bit of background on the answers to those posts, but fantastic job for the most part. A lot of you did a great job. Please remember, initial posts need to be at least 300 words. They need to contain sources I have given you. They need to have paragraphs with a clear beginning, middle, and end. So you should have an introduction, then you should lay out your issues or answer your questions, and then have a well-developed response post. Conclusion to that. But overall, great job. I look forward to your forum post this week. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Remember, next week you have that first population. Besides your initial post, your response post, and your quiz, you have that assignment due. And I will be honest with you, that assignment is not going to be able to be done in an hour. It's going to take you some time because you actually have to create data and then you have to analyze that data in written format. So make sure that you spend some time writing and developing your paper which analyzes the data that you find for 5 countries. And if you have any questions about that, you can definitely watch that video walkthrough of the population assignment. Have a fantastic week, and I look forward to your initial post next week. Quiz, remember, Sunday by 11:59.